2 hours of writing fiction leaves this writer completely drained. For those 2 hours, he has been in a different place, with totally different people. Hello, my name is M. Kieran. Let's talk about writing. So today's question is, hey, I am trying to get started with a story. I have the setting, plot, characters, etc. mostly figured out. The problem is, I haven't lived in a place similar to the protagonist, and I am scared that I am setting myself for inaccuracies because of this. I don't want to just stick to what I know, but I hate getting stuck on every detail and questioning whether or not it makes sense. This is a very interesting question because most other writers would tell you to do tons upon tons of research. Not me. Let's get something out of the way. Fiction is not journalism. Your job is not to get the facts and tell them straight. Your job is to tell a compelling story. Now, if you're writing about a specific place, a real place, at a specific time, I recommend you look into anything you have questions about. And look into anything you need to know to be respectful towards the people who live there. But don't do a case study. Why? Because no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, your story is going to be inaccurate. Yes, it's going to be inaccurate, because a single story, from one point of view, cannot encompass all cultures and all subcultures and all history and all realities of one single place. That is impossible. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much research you do, you will always find one person who will pop out of the woodwork and tell you, "Excuse me, this is actually historically inaccurate?" I have encountered them in the past. Trust me, they are harmless. Again, if you're writing about a real place, I recommend some research. Really, just enough to answer any questions you might have, and enough to be respectful towards the people who live there. But do not waste a second worrying about the people who are going to argue with you that in the 1920s, Tommy guns were sold for $200 and that your character should not have been able to acquire one for $150, because apparently that's not historically accurate. Now, that aside, I think that the biggest bulk of your question has nothing to do with research. And for those of you who have been following my blog for the longest time, yes, it's time for my catchphrase. I have never been a 15-year-old girl inside a mental hospital, or a 20-year-old young man serving as the lead merchant to a bunch of pirates, or a 15-year-old girl who finds herself inside a creepy mansion. But my characters were. You want my #1 tip for creating authentic stories? Get out of the way. Don't question or second-guess the world you're writing. Don't expect it to line up perfectly to the reality we live in. Don't compare the facts of that world to the one we live in and try to sort out the truth. That may make for okay journalism, but your job is to tell a story. J.K. Rowling never attended Hogwarts. J.R.R. Tolkien never walked on Middle-earth, but their characters did. So, you say you're not sure if the story is going to make sense. The thing is, our perception of sense is based on the world we live in. The characters in Alice in Wonderland thought that their world was perfectly okay, because that was their perception of reality. Be true to your story, dear reader. Just think what would be of our world if Lewis Carroll had second-guessed himself while writing Alice in Wonderland. I mean, excuse me, it's realistically impossible to play croquet with flamingos. Just keep that in mind. Trust in your story, follow your characters, and I promise you the story will make sense. And really, if it doesn't, clean it up in the second draft. I hope this has answered your question, and maybe giving you the little extra inspiration to go out and write your stories without fear. If anyone else has any more questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below or over at my blog. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want more. Now, if you excuse me, I have a tea party to attend.